In the beginning, when the earth was still young, people filled the world. But as time went on, their hearts grew dark. God looked down and saw a world filled with selfishness and cruelty. It grieved him to see how far humanity had strayed from the path he had intended. But amidst all this darkness, there was one man who stood out. His name was Noah. Noah was a good and righteous man who walked faithfully with God. He lived a life that honored his Creator, even when everyone around him did not. One day, God spoke to Noah. He told Noah that he was going to send a great flood to wash away all the wickedness from the earth. But God wanted to save Noah, his family, and all the animals. So he gave Noah a monumental task. God instructed Noah to build a massive ark, a huge boat made of gopher wood. He gave him the exact dimensions: 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. It was to have 3 decks, a roof, and a single door on its side. Imagine the sheer scale of this project. Building such a vessel would require immense faith and hard work, especially when there wasn't a cloud in the sky. Noah didn't hesitate. He trusted God completely. He and his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, began the enormous task of building the ark, just as God had commanded. People in the nearby towns likely watched them, perhaps laughing and mocking them for building a giant boat on dry land. They couldn't understand Noah's unwavering faith. But Noah continued his work, patiently following God's plan day after day, year after year. As the ark neared completion, God gave Noah another instruction. He was to gather 2 of every kind of animal, a male and a female, and bring them into the ark. From the mighty elephants and lions to the smallest insects and birds, a great procession of creatures began to make their way towards the ark. It must have been an incredible sight. All these animals walking peacefully, 2 by 2, into the safe haven Noah had built. He also gathered enough food to sustain everyone, his family, and all the animals for the long journey ahead. Finally, the day came. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, and their wives all entered the ark. All the animals were safely inside. Then God himself shut the door of the ark, sealing them inside. 7 days later, the first drops of rain began to fall. Soon, it turned into a downpour. The springs of the great deep burst forth, and the floodgates of the heavens were opened. Rain poured down on the earth for 40 days and 40 nights. The water level rose higher and higher, covering the hills and then the mountains. Everything on the land that was not in the ark was swept away. Inside the ark, Noah and his family were safe and dry. They floated on the relentless waters, a tiny vessel of hope in a world being cleansed and renewed. For 150 days, the water covered the earth. But God did not forget Noah. He sent a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. Slowly, the water level dropped. The ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. After many more weeks, Noah sent out a raven, and then a dove, to see if the land was dry. The first time, the dove returned, finding no place to rest. A week later, Noah sent it out again, and this time it returned with a freshly plucked olive leaf in its beak, a sign that the waters had subsided and new life was beginning. Finally, after another 7 days, he sent the dove out one last time, and it did not return. The earth was ready. God then spoke to Noah, "Come out of the ark, you and your wife and your sons and their wives. Bring out every kind of living creature that is with you." So Noah, his family, and all the animals came out of the ark onto dry ground. The first thing Noah did was build an altar to the Lord. He gave thanks to God for their deliverance and for his faithfulness. God was pleased with Noah's grateful heart. He made a covenant, a sacred promise, with Noah and all living creatures. God promised that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood. And as a sign of this everlasting promise, he set a beautiful rainbow in the clouds. So, whenever we see a rainbow arching across the sky, we can remember God's promise to Noah, and to all of us, a promise of hope, renewal, and faithfulness. Thank you for joining us for this story. If you enjoyed it, please like, share, and subscribe for more stories from the Bible.